Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Steiner from the Florida delegation. I'd like to yield the remainder of my time to Delegate Howard from New York.
That is your right.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the author states that by keeping people from patenting these indigenous plants, it stops biodiversity, because if these indigenous plants are planted right alongside the genetically modified plants, that when something like a plague or something comes along, they'll die out. That's natural selection. That's how it's always been. That's how it always will be. These genetically modified plants are created in such a way to be superior to the original plants, so that they can live longer and be stronger plants. I would put that this does not this does not hurt biodiversity, but actually accents it by creating better and stronger plants. Thank you. The rest of my time.
You have a minute and 10 seconds.
Joseph Howard, New York. The invasive species legislation, the only place where it states which you can bring is Australia. I applaud this proposal, but I think that it should be done in the opposite way. Instead of saying which you cannot patent, it should say which you can patent, for the simple reason of, as new cash crops develop and as new popular farming plants appear, we can keep a better hold on it. If we say which you cannot patent, then we have a set amount, and it can't be skewed by corporations who develop new types of plants, or if any new types of cash crop appear. I yield the remainder of my time to the chair.
Matthew Webb, the Republic of Texas. I reserve my right to yield my remaining time to Maynard of Texas.
That is your right.
All right. First off, as another delegate said, the minute I read this proposal, it went straight over my head. That was back in third committee, and then she's explained it to me twice right now, and I'm really for it. One of my biggest arguments is a story that we heard of Starbucks. Y'all love Starbucks, right? Okay. I try to talk on one breath too, so I get over it. Starbucks had patented a non-genetically altered bean, and this bean was grown by the people of the village. And when the village people went to try and plant this bean, they found out that they had to pay Starbucks just to plant it. The village then went bankrupt trying to plant the bean that they in turn had to sell right back to Starbucks. This is not going to work out. They can't put a patent on something that was already on the earth that they didn't create. They can patent their genetically modified ones, but what this proposal is trying to do is get you to realize that they're trying to patent things that were already here. Things that they didn't invent, things that they didn't modify, things that were already here. I yield my time. It's Maynard of Texas.
45 seconds.
Maynard, Republic of Texas. Most of us have been looking at this proposal at the wrong point of view. This proposal is to protect the rights of the people who have originally planted this crop. It's not for the corporations to take it away. We are not trying to infringe on the rights. We're just trying to protect the little people. Why should they have to give up what they have grown and what they have eaten for years and years just because big corporations have money and they can spend it and they put it into other people's pockets? Thank you.
Parth Parihar from the City of New Jersey. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to reserve the right to yield to fellow delegate McGlone from New Jersey.
That is your right.
Would the author yield to a series of questions?
The author yield?
Yes.
How would you go about amending this international treaty?
The United States has ratified this treaty through a UN agency, the FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. The United States, therefore, is part of the governing body and also, as many of you know, is a member of the Security Council and holds a lot of influence in the United Nations. All the United States has to do is propose an amendment, and it is likely that among the 150 countries which have already ratified it, many of which are developing countries, it will be ratified because it protects their economies and protects their farmers.
This proposal will in no way infringe upon the right of an agribusiness corporation to legitimately patent a GMO, correct?
Yes.
And this bill in no way relates to any international treaty such as the Treaty on Biodiversity, which the United States is not a member to, correct?
Yes.
With that, I'd like to yield the remainder of my time to McGlone.
Thank you, Delegate. You yield 50 seconds.
William McGlone, New Jersey delegation. Thank you, Madam Chair. Will the author yield to a series of questions?
Will the author yield?
Yes.
Author. With this bill, proposal. With this proposal, it says it would be their property between 17 to 20 years. Would that amount of time really even do that much to like a civilization that was using the crop? Couldn't they just pay it?
In 17 to 20 years, families, children can die, ecosystems can become destroyed. Yes, it can leave an impact that can last for centuries.
But, I mean, wouldn't they be able to recover after the patent expires?
It is likely that a large corporation with a lot of money would continue the patent and would continue to purchase the patent if they want to continue the research or have enjoyed the monopoly that they have.
Thank you. Time has elapsed. Time has now elapsed.
Thank you very much. I would like to clarify, and I apologize that I'm aware this is a somewhat complicated proposal, and I thank you for your patience and attention. I would first like to state that this proposal does not deal with GM crops and in no way infringes upon the rights to patent GM crops. No matter what perspective you look at it, whether from scientific or religious, these corporations are patenting naturally occurring or God-given life. This is not allowed. Under many circumstances, through the World Trade Organization, this is not allowed. The trade-related international intellectual property rights agreements have all stated that you must prove that you have in some way created a novel idea or modified something that does not exist to patent it. However, as I stated, due to corruption or various reasons, companies get away with patenting naturally occurring life. Now, you could wonder, how does this harm the local ecosystems? How does this harm the farmers? And many of you wondered, you can plant them alongside each other. The point that I'm hoping to convey is that when it comes to these developing nations and these farmers, they're not planting the GM crops. They're paying to plant what they planted for hundreds of years, their families, their legacies. Some of the way they plant these things is based on traditional knowledge from these civilizations, from these cultures. Many of these developing nations, many of these people, they don't have steady economies, they don't have much money, their national GDP is quite low. This is their life. If you ask them to pay for what they didn't have to pay for before, for something that naturally grows around them, for something that a corporate CEO in the United States might have never seen, you're ruining their livelihood. And you're possibly threatening food security and the economy of the world. Furthermore, you can wonder, how can America influence this? Well, as I stated, it is part of the governing body of this treaty. Secondly, the majority of the corporations which have patented this naturally occurring life are located in the United States, such as previously mentioned Starbucks, Monsanto, DuPont, and corporations which utilize these unfortunate events, such as Walmart. Therefore, and I know many of you believe that the United States has major sway in the world and can be a world leader, it is up to the United States to take a stand and support a proposal that it signed, that it helped create, and that it should implement it even more in the United States and allow farmers to participate in our national decisions on what is done to their crops and their rights now in the face of GM crops and natural crops. They can both exist in tandem, but you must respect what is already there. So therefore, I propose for the security of the world, of the economy, and for people around the world that you pass this proposal. 150 countries participate, billions of people, thousands of species. As developing countries go, they require much aid. We give a lot of this aid. We don't have to give as much if we help them out through proposals such as this. Please heed my warning as far as GM crops go and as far as natural life goes, and pass this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. The motion before this General Assembly is that Proposal 293 does pass. All those in favor, please signify by standing and saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? This proposal does pass.